Hey guys, what's up? Today I want to recommend the 10 best retro JRPGs that are nowadays available on modern consoles. Now, I know the PS2 era is already considered as retro, but I want to go before that for this video. JRPGs from the PS1 era and below, so let's begin. Number 10, Chrono Cross. Yeah, this is obviously my number 1, but I didn't want to make this video that predictable, so yeah. I have a couple more rules for this video. No remakes of any kind, remasters like this one are fine, and also no games that are on the emulators of Switch Online or the Sega Genesis collection. The Cross remaster got a patch fixing its infamous frame rate issues, so it plays awesome nowadays. Character design has been reworked, like the portraits for example, some new themes have been added for the menus, 3D models were also reworked and looked absolutely gorgeous. Interface is faster, including the loading times, fast forward is unlocked since the beginning and you can also turn the enemy encounters off. So yeah, several quality of life additions were included here. You can find this beautiful gem on PS4, Switch, Xbox One and Steam, but the only physical version out there is the Asian one on Switch. Number 9, Romancing Saga 2 and 3. Since the first game got a full remake on the PS2 and that remake got a remaster last year, people were left wondering about 2 and 3. Originally released on the Super Famicom exclusive to Japan, Arte Piazza ported both games to an official English release in the form of remasters. They are available on PS4, Switch, Xbox One, PS Vita, Windows, Android and iOS. Graphically speaking, the team made a big effort into making the pixel art look as glorious as it did in the original versions. It's hard to notice, but the backgrounds are sharper this time around, but not enough to overshadow the characters' pixels. In fact, you have the option to turn off these upscaled graphics and play these games as they were in the early 90s. These are good RPGs, still rather cryptic but with rebalanced difficulty. Worth checking out. Anyway, some physical releases were there from Asia on PS4 and Switch. Number 8, Collection of Mana. This one includes emulation ports for the very first 3 Mana games, Adventures of Mana, which originally came out on the Game Boy, Secret of Mana, released on the Super Nintendo, and Trials of Mana on the Super Famicom. This is the first time we ever got an official English release of these games, since it stayed in Japan for a long time, even though a fan-translated version has existed since forever. Apart from that, this little collection also included a quick save feature and a music player so you can listen to the entire soundtrack of each game. And that's it. No more features were included here, which is why I said at the beginning that they were emulation ports, because that's, well, all it's doing, emulating them. Strangely, this is a Switch exclusive. No other version of it exists whatsoever. Apparently it's because Square Enix allegedly lost the source code and Nintendo miraculously had it. I'm not sure I believe that, but whatever. Legend of Mana, originally released on PS1, got a remaster for PS4, Switch, Windows and phones, by the way. Number 7, Tactics Ogre Reborn. Many will say this is a remake and I actually mistook it for one at some point, but it's just not. Nothing's been remade here. They did upscale the graphics to HD, reworked on the color palettes, added remastered music, English and Japanese dub, etc. You can also revisit previous branching points in the story, cause this is one of those games with multiple routes and endings. Now, this highly influential game was first released on the Super Famicom, later ported to the Sega Saturn, the PS1 and the PSP. We only got the last 2 ports. The PSP version is often referred to as a remake, even in Wikipedia, and I don't know why. Nothing was remade, the game was just ported with a bunch of improvements that were great for its time, but it's not like they entirely redid the game from scratch, like, I don't know, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Langrisser 1 and 2, or not even like Live Alive. And this Reborn version seems to be based on that PSP version apparently. It's confusing, I know, but trust me, it's not a remake. Just a remaster of a remaster of a remaster. Yeah. Anyway, you can find this brutally hardcore strategy RPG on PS4, PS5, Switch and Windows. Number 6. Grandia. Grandia 1 was released on the PS1, but Japan also got a version of the Sega Saturn. This Switch and Windows remaster is actually based on both versions, becoming pretty much the definitive one. It's mostly based on the PS1 release and its original code, but it includes small technical features the Sega Saturn version had. Everything has been enhanced here, from the UI, to the sprites, to the graphics, the art style, the animations, and it even included both the English and Japanese dub. I agree with its developers, this is truly the best version to play of this game. Now, Grandia 2 was also included here, originally released on the Dreamcast. The remaster is actually based on that version. It also included the same enhancements and even an upgrade for the people who owned the original remaster on PC from 2015. But we said no JRPGs from the PS2 era, so let's move on. Although it wouldn't hurt getting this game too if you're already getting the first one. Number 5. Star Ocean First Departure R. I said I wouldn't include remakes, so we may have a bit of a problem here, but let me explain. I included this because it was originally released on the Super Famicom only in Japan. Many years later we got a full remake of it for the PSP called First Departure, and that is the version this modern remaster is based on. So perhaps I'm breaking my own rule here, but since its in-game graphics don't look modern at all and still resemble a retro RPG like many PSP games, I gave it a pass. Plus, a Star Ocean 2 remake is coming out this year, and I wanted to remind people this prequel is on PS4 and Switch. It comes with a different art style for the characters that I honestly wasn't a fan of. Thankfully, you can change it to the one from the PSP version if you want to, but the gameplay graphics didn't change and simply look upscaled as opposed to the PSP remake. Both English and Japanese audio is included here, with the option to use the re-recorded dialogue from the original Japanese voice actors of the Super Famicom version. Playing this game on high-resolution modern systems is greatly appreciated, even though it sadly didn't receive a physical release anywhere. Still, check it out if you can. Number 4. The Legend of Dragoon. Actually, this is just a straight re-release of the classic PS1 game, now digitally on PS4, but it did include some neat features such as up-rendering graphics, a rewind and a quick save options, and custom video filters. This release got a lukewarm reception at first, worse than the Chrono Cross remaster. Glitches, bugs, and technical issues were overly present. However, Sony wasted no time to fix all of that with a patch, and now the game is perfectly playable on both the PS4 and the PS5. That's right, it's a Sony IP, so I don't think it'll be released anywhere else. A proper remaster will work wonders if it's also released on Switch and Windows, or even better, a full remake. But it's Sony and they think porting or re-releasing more games works better for some reason. It's okay, the important thing here is that this legendary RPG is nowadays playable on PlayStation 4 and 5 digitally at least. Number 3. Wild Arms 1 and 2. These two got the exact same treatment as the Legend of Dragoon. Since Sony owns the rights to all of them, they got re-released digitally on the PS4 and 5. These two didn't get a glitchy tribulation on either system like Dragoon did at first. Everything has been slightly upscaled to make it look prettier on those two modern systems. I actually noticed they do appear to be less pixelated than before, especially during battle. However, no enhancements were done to anything else. They look alright on these systems and not as ugly as you might think, but honestly the character models do stand out in them. In Wild Arms 2, for example, I noticed they look almost as if they were remastered. They just look very clean for some reason. So I'm glad Sony decided to re-release these JRPGs on their modern platforms and polished their graphics enough to make them look good. Number 2. Final Fantasy IX. Well, every single Final Fantasy game from 1 to 12 is available on all modern systems, except 11, cause that was an MMORPG. I picked 9 for this video for two simple reasons. One, because it's by far my favorite of them all, and second, because its remastered wasn't as lazy as it was for 7 or 8, plus I haven't played those popular pixel remasters of 1 to 6, so it makes sense I'd cover this game over those. This remaster is nowadays on Switch, PS4, Windows, Xbox One, and even for freaking phones! In fact, the mobile version was the first remaster and then it got ported to the rest of the platforms. Upscaled HD visuals were there for the cinematics and the character models, but not the backgrounds. That's just stupid, but I still think the pre-rendered backgrounds look nice, so fine, it's okay, lazy but playable. An autosave feature was included, shows like fast forward options like a high-speed mode, and of course a way to turn random encounters off. Trust me, for a game like this with a high encounter rate, that's paradise. Anyway, this game is a masterpiece and in my opinion the best Final Fantasy game ever made. Number 1, Valkyrie Profile. This game was a surprise announcement last year even though it didn't get a physical release. Just like the Legend of Dragoon in Wild Arms 1 and 2, Sony treated this as part of their so-called PlayStation classics, so this is only on PS4 and PS5 digitally. Just like those games too, it got the same treatment with some polishing here and there with the graphics, focusing on the character sprites and the backgrounds. I gotta say that the backgrounds in some areas look absolutely gorgeous. Make no mistake though, neither of these JRPGs are remastered, but they may look like one if you play them on a decent TV. I also noticed the loading times are slightly shorter, especially during the start of every battle. Like the others, it includes save states, trophies, filter options, and a rewind feature. It will also surprise you to know that this re-release is based on the PSP port the game got many years ago. That one included these awesome cinematics. They look good enough on the PS4 and 5, so it's alright. This masterpiece is a must-play on any system whatsoever. Coming soon, the Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters, though as of the making of this video, Konami hasn't set an exact release date, only that they'll be available in 2023. Star Ocean: The Second Story was announced, but it's going to be a remix, so it doesn't count. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!